Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. And as always, a special thank you to every single one of you who has become a subscriber on Substack, on Patreon, here on YouTube, or who has otherwise supported my work. I want you to know that I appreciate every single one of you. I've got shocking news for you today. US President Trump said that the United States is trying to get back into Afghanistan. Yes, you heard that right, and I will play the clip for you in just a second. In a new development that is truly stirring global headlines, the United States president has signaled a very controversial ambition to reclaim Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. And the reason will shock you. He said this during a recent news conference alongside British PM Keir Starmer in London. Trump voiced his desire to see Bagram return to U.S. control, calling the Biden administration's 2021 withdrawal from Afghanistan, quote, a total disaster. And it was a disaster. He's correct. The withdrawal was a national embarrassment. But also, Trump criticized the decision to abandon the base, saying, quote, we gave it to them for nothing, as if it would have made sense to spend another 2+ decades attempting to replace Taliban with Taliban. As I mentioned in a post on my Telegram, the US spent $1.6 trillion to get out of Afghanistan and Iraq, and now Trump wants to send you right back. Bagram Airfield is located just north of Kabul. It was once the epicenter of U.S. military operations in Afghanistan at its peak. It saw over 100,000 U.S. troops rotate through its facilities. Bagram was more than just a military hub. It became a symbol of America's 2-decade-long campaign in the region against both the Taliban and Al-Qaeda. The base was handed over to Afghan forces in July of 2021, just weeks before the U.S. military withdrawal. When the Afghan government collapsed, so too did control of Bagram. Now, the big question is, why does Trump want Bagram, and why does he want to station U.S. military troops at this military base again? Here's why. Trump emphasized a new strategic value for Bagram, its geographic proximity to China. He said it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. And he referenced facilities in China's western region. He sees Bagram as more than just a lost asset. It's now a potential counterweight in the growing competition with Beijing. Here's the clip. Take a look.
We're going to leave Afghanistan, but we're going to leave it with strength and dignity. And we're going to keep Bagram, the big air base, one of the biggest air bases in the world. We gave it to them for nothing. We're trying to get it back, by the way. Okay, that could be a little breaking news. We're trying to get it back because they need things from us. We want that base back. But one of the reasons we want the base is, as you know, it's an hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons.
Here's what's important. Despite claims by Trump that China may have taken an interest in the base, satellite imagery and independent investigations, including a BBC report, have found no evidence of Chinese activity at the site. Trump's rhetoric reflects a broader recalibration of U.S. priorities. His interest in reclaiming Bagram isn't rooted primarily in Afghanistan itself, but in regional influence and what the U.S. perceives as a national security concern, which is thousands of miles away from the U.S. borders. But Trump's vision is far from universally accepted, especially in Kabul. Afghan officials swiftly pushed back. They responded the following day. The following day after Trump had made that shocking revelation, a senior official in the Taliban-controlled foreign ministry publicly rejected the idea of any U.S. military return, of any U.S. military involvement in Afghanistan. He said, Afghans have not accepted a military presence in history, pointing out that a renewed American footprint violates the terms of the Doha Agreement that was signed during Trump's own administration during his first term. Taliban's comments emphasize that while Afghanistan is open to political and economic relations with the United States, it will not allow foreign troops back on Afghan soil. And the official added, the door is open for further interaction, but he made it clear that any military comeback is off the table. table. China did not remain silent either. China too weighed in. The Chinese Foreign Ministry warned against escalating tensions in the region, stating that, quote, Afghanistan's future should be decided by its own people. Isn't this something that the United States should be saying, by the way? Isn't this something that the United States should be standing by, wouldn't you say? Additionally, China cautioned against what it called, quote, stirring up confrontation. That confrontation, however, is increasingly inevitable as the United States reorients its foreign policy toward great power competition, particularly with China. In this context, background becomes less about Afghanistan and, of course, more about geopolitical positioning. Even so, the path to regaining Bagram has many obstacles and many challenges, and it is a good thing, actually. We don't need U.S. troops back in Afghanistan after the United States just bombed Iran's nuclear facility several months ago, illegally bombed, violating Iran's sovereignty. It remains unclear whether the United States is actively negotiating with the Taliban on this matter, while some diplomatic contact does continue, including recent talks concerning detained American citizens in Afghanistan. There is really no official and confirmed indication of progress on military issues. Experts warn that even the suggestion of retaking Bagram could give the Taliban leverage, or worse, it could provoke regional instability. At home, Trump's comments have reopened debate about the United States withdrawing from Afghanistan. While Biden's administration oversaw the chaotic final phase, including the deadly bombing at Kabul airport that killed 13 American troops, the plan itself was actually set in motion under Trump during his first presidency. The withdrawal was clearly long overdue, but its execution was nothing short of a failure. Critics argue that both administrations share blame, though Trump insists his own strategy involved retaining control of Bagram precisely for strategic leverage, not for Afghan stability, of course, but for Chinese containment. So it sounds as though Trump wants to have U.S. boots on the ground again, and he wants to use Afghanistan as a regional instrument against China. Still, many questions remain. Would the Taliban ever agree to U.S. troops returning? Could Trump negotiate a deal that avoids inflaming tensions with China in the region? And most importantly, arguably, should the United States even attempt to reestablish a military foothold in Afghanistan after such a costly and painful exit? What are your thoughts on this subject? What are your thoughts on U.S. interference in Afghanistan's affairs and potentially renewing its military presence there? Share your thoughts in the comments below, please. I would love to hear more from you. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it interesting and informative. Consider sharing it with your network and make sure that you are subscribed here on YouTube. I would love to have you back for my next one. And if you enjoy reading, if you would like a little bit more content, check out my Substack and Patreon. They are linked in the description below. I'll see you in my new one. Take care.